What's up, everybody? Chicago. This is Kahlief here. E3 2019. We're here hanging at the Ubisoft booth, here with the creative director on Watchdogs Legions, Clint Hocking. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's been a great show so far.
You have the dopest game on the floor of E3. I'm saying it now, after just getting a demo. I'm putting it on there. I wish I had one of those little foam board things you can put on the booth. That's like dopest game of the show. You have to talk to me about the ideas around the NPC stuff that you're doing. The fact you can choose any NPC and be that character in the game. Please let the folks know at home what's that all about.
So in Watchdogs Legion, first of all, your mission is to build a popular resistance to fight back against an authoritarian regime. But what's really important is the way you do that is by recruiting people from the open world, winning them over to your cause, bringing them into your team, and then playing as them. And you can play as anyone in this game, anyone, whether it's the bartender in the pub or the old lady in the park, anyone.
One of the things I loved about the demo I got a chance to play was going through the first couple missions and kind of moving around and maneuvering in the space and trying to figure out, what I can interact with and what I can actually kind of touch and kind of move around in the spaces. How important was it to kind of build that world out and have that interactivity be in basically like everything that you can kind of see?
Right. I mean, of course, we put a lot of attention to detail into our environments. We have to work with the animators and the artists and the level designers to get those patterns to flow properly, make sure all the animations look and feel good, all the gameplay works. And I think, and then we have the added challenge of trying to make sure that it works, no matter which character you're playing, because you can be an old lady or you can be a former soldier who can roll and flip and use machine guns. So it's really important to get that robustness there. But I mean, that's something that is just core to the brand, is really good gameplay, really good mechanics, really good feel.
So when you're all sitting down at the table, you're all in the Knights of the Round Table setting, and you're thinking about how this is going to work. In terms of getting these systems to work together, and they work so well. Yeah. What were the first kind of concepts and kind of conversations you were all having to kind of move this from a place that was kind of theoretical to actually being in the game and real?
Right. So, I mean, in the very beginning, we looked at Watchdogs 1, where DedSec was kind of a group that you worked with. They were in the background. And then in Watchdogs 2, DedSec was a group of people working together in San Francisco. And we said, well, what if we went from being one guy to being a team to being like anyone? And then we're like, okay, how are we going to do that? And then we started talking about what it would mean for story and for script and for voice acting and for animation and for AI and for programming and for spawning people in the world and for traffic simulation. And then the list just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And usually when that happens, I'll be honest with you, on a game, what happens is you go, yeah, that's cut. And then you do something else. But with this game, even as we were building out that list, it just got more and more exciting. And everybody was like, yeah, I think we can actually do that. Like, we can we can do this, we can do this, we can cross that off. We got this guy, he can do that, she can work on this. And people just started to believe in it, and they wanted to make it. So we did.
One of the conversations that came up during the actual demo itself, or at least before the demo, was about how all these characters, or a lot of these characters, will be voiced in these NPCs and have kind of different inflections and different kinds of flavors in the way that they kind of talk to each other in the world. Yeah. How important was it to kind of get all that stuff in the game? And was that something that kind of came in early as a concept, or something a little bit later? So
the biggest challenge when we started to figure out how Play as Anyone was going to work was, how do we make sure we still have an awesome story, right? And having an awesome story means having great characters, great performance capture, great voice acting, great animation, great cinematics. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. Like, those were the hard questions, and it was like, how many versions of the script do we have to write, and how many characters do their narrative personas do we need to support, and like, how are they going to combine together so that it doesn't just feel like it's a few repeated characters, that really it really is anyone. And those were the biggest challenges.
Going through some of the characters that I had a chance to play and kind of recruit through the process, I love the concept of having the origin story of when you're kind of bringing people onto the team. Yeah. That was really smart. I really love that part. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about why that was important and kind of why that became, the way that you would bring people into DedSec?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really important is that you feel that these characters that you're recruiting and are becoming the heroes of your story, you need to believe in them as people, right? And if they just feel, mechanical, like you spend some points or something and then they join your team, then you're not going to have as much investment. But if they are realized characters with a story and relationships, someone's father's being held prisoner somewhere, or someone's about to get beaten up by a loan shark or whatever, then you see them in their lives and you believe that they're real and you believe their problems are real, and then you believe that their motivations to fight back are real, and then they become yours and they become your own, and then your mind and your heart kind of fills in the blanks and brings them to life.
One of the things that Ubi does really, really well is world build. You all have done fantastic things in DC this year, or with the Division, in the previous Watchdog games in San Francisco. Now you're moving everything to London. How cool was it to kind of move from the U.S. now over to across the pond?
Yeah, I mean, moving to London was at first incredibly intimidating because it's such an incredible city. It's so diverse and so colorful and so complex and so much history, right? And they drive on the left side of the road and it's really confusing. So we had to figure out how to capture the essence of London, and not just as a city in architecture and history and key landmarks and traffic, but also capture the essence of the people, right? Because again, it's play as anyone, and London is one of the most diverse cities in the world. So how do you capture that cultural diversity and the diversity of people as well? Before
I let you go, one of the things I have to ask is, as a new player, whoever that person may be coming into this game, if they haven't played the ones previously, what's one of the first things you want them to kind of check out and kind of get into when you get into Watchdogs Legion?
Wow. I want them to get sucked into the mystery of where this new DedSec comes from and who they are and what are their motivations. Because I think the world is our version of London is a pretty intimidating and threatening place, and I want them to be motivated to fight back against that. But I also want them to feel a sense of mystery and wonder as they start to pull at the strings of the systems in the game to figure out what's going on.
Clint, thank you so much for your time. It's a blast. I had a blast at the demo. I died not once. I didn't die at all, even though I had 7,000 cops trying to kill me. And it was fantastic. Every moment was fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, my friends. Everybody home in Chicago, we're coming back. We got a couple other things for you for E3. And until then, we say peace.